In today's video, we are going to be comparing the Sigma 18-35 f1.8 with the Fuji 16-55 f2.8. Now, if you were like me and you were questioning which one is more appropriate to you, then this video just might help. I can attest that both of these lenses are fantastic, and there's a huge number of questions as to which one is better. So what we're going to try and do today is answer some of those questions by doing a comparison test. Both of these juggernauts are huge in stature and reputation, so why don't we put them through their paces? And to compare these lenses, we're going to be shooting this all on the XH2S. So one of the most predominant questions you have to ask yourself when buying any new gear is, how much does it cost? Now, if you buy the Fuji 16-55mm f2.8, it's going to set you back around about $980 brand new. Now, I have seen it cheaper and I have seen it more expensive, but as an average price, that's kind of the mark. Now, if you buy the Sigma brand new, that's going to cost you $867. Now, there is a catch. If you are using a Fujifilm system like the XH2S or the X-T5 or any Fujifilm system, you are going to need an adapter. And the adapter that I have chosen is the Fringer EF-FX Pro 2 adapter. Now, there's no way around this. You are going to need an adapter, and that will set you back $377. So in total, the Sigma is going to cost you more at roughly around $1,244. So in regard of pricing, it seems that the Fuji wins out on this one. Now, the negatives about these two lenses is that they are huge, as you can tell. So size-wise, if I hold them up, the Sigma is absolutely massive. And in terms of weight, it is too. The Sigma lens on its own, without the adapter, comes in at a whopping 810 grams. Plus, if you add the adapter alone is 130 grams itself. So put that together and you've got a whopping 940 grams for one lens. Where again, the Fuji only comes in, I say only, at 657 grams. So again, for me, the Fuji wins out on weight. And when it comes to size, in terms of length, the Sigma is clearly bigger. However, when it comes in width, in diameter, it is the Fuji. When it comes to build quality, the Sigma is made of thermally composite stable, which is just fancy for plastic. But it does feel a little bit more luxurious than just plastic. However, with the Fuji, it is a completely metal build with weather resistant, whereas the Sigma has no weather sealing. Now, these are both zoom lenses, but only one of them extends externally, where with the Sigma, it extends internally. So for me, in that regard, the Sigma wins out with the zoom. When it comes to focusing, there are two train of thoughts. If you are using these lenses in autofocus mode, you can clearly see that the Fuji outperforms the Sigma. The Sigma does tend to hunt more, and I guess it might be to do that is not a native lens. Plus, the Fuji have fantastic linear motors that make it quiet and quick. Also, the Sigma is so noisy when it comes to autofocus. However, when it comes to manual focusing, the Sigma clearly wins out here. As you can see, the focus ring is much bigger here and has a smoother rotation, whereas on the Fuji, it is much smaller and you seem to have less control. But one important thing to note is that the Sigma is a mechanical focus lens, while the Fuji is an electronic focus by wire lens. For video work and manual focusing, the Sigma is probably your best option. Now let's talk about focal length. So with the Sigma, we have an 18-35mm, which is roughly a 28-50mm equivalent on a full frame sensor. However, on the Fuji, we have a 16-55, which that is equivalent to 24-83mm. Now, if you compare this to something like the kit lens, I really do think those extra couple of millimeters add a massive difference to this lens. However, this only reaching up to 35 is not a drawback. You can just always get closer. And having had and worked with this lens longer, I can attest that I don't really miss not being able to zoom in closer, particularly with the X-H2S, where you can digitally punch in more. So when it comes to stabilization, neither of these lenses have optical image stabilization. But again, if you have something like the X-H2S, I don't think you're going to miss it that much. You can always add it in post, or just mount it on a tripod or gimbal. However, having said that, I know a lot of people like to run and gun, and I do think because you have a lot of weight in these lenses, it does ground you a little bit more, stabilizing your footage. I think from the tests you can see here, it's not huge enough to maybe worry about. Now, when it comes to low light performance, the Sigma definitely outperforms the Fuji. This has an aperture of 1.8, where this is only at 2.8. And on an APS-C sensor, that makes a huge difference. So it is important, if you have a Fujifilm system, that you have a faster lens. You want to be opening up that lens and letting more light onto your sensor, making sure most of your footage or photography is not grainy. When it comes to photography, I have already found, after only a little while of owning this, that the Fujifilm is superior. They call this a bag of primes, and rightly so. The focal length alone definitely gives this an edge, allowing more creativity in your shots. The Sigma lens is particularly sharp, but because the autofocus is not as good, the Fuji will always win out for me. Videography. So when we talk about videography, I have to go with the Sigma. The reason I bought the Sigma in the first place was for videography. Being able to shoot so wide at a constant aperture at 1.8 was definitely a good selling point. The fact you can switch between autofocus and manual focus on the side here is a big plus, and the focus ring, like I said before, really enables you to have more control within your footage. With the Fuji having a focus by wire, this is great if you are doing video completely with autofocus, but when it comes to manual focus, it just doesn't outperform the Sigma in this regard. So in conclusion, these lenses are fantastic. They are weighty, they are big, huge boys. I would say they're not the most travel friendly of lenses, but they do pack a huge punch if you're using them for corporate commercial work. If you are a photographer, then I would suggest the Fuji 16 to 55mm f2.8 with a constant aperture, a huge focal length, weather sealing, metal build. This is going to be your workhorse for all your photography. I have only had this a short while, but already it has blown me away, and definitely one of the best Fuji lenses out there. When it comes to videography, I have to choose the Sigma. Its low light performance outshines most lenses I own. I shoot all my YouTube videos with this lens and all my interviews and professional client work. It is a big boy, but some of the features it comes with, like this smooth, very capable focus ring and this dial to switch between autofocus and manual focus, is great. The F1.8 is a huge feature, and one that I think for video work really is going to help you provide great professional work. Now, probably the biggest question is, if you are a hybrid shooter, which one do you pick? This is a tough question because that is what I am. I am a hybrid shooter. I shoot both photography and video, professionally and as a hobbyist. And I don't know whether it's just because I've got the Fuji recently, but I would have to say the Fuji 16 to 55. Now, if you watch this channel, you know how much I love the Fujifilm kit lens. That 18 to 55mm lens is phenomenal, but this is on another level. And as I slightly lean more towards photography and me filming slightly less, this is what I would go for. Other reasons are portability. I am a travel photographer and videographer, so if I want to keep one thing in my bag, it's this. This is over 1 kg. This is only 657 grams. So I lean towards this more than I would that. Because at the end of the day, it's really your choice. What is your work? What do you focus on? Are you a videographer? Then maybe the Sigma is the lens. Are you a photographer? Then maybe the Fuji is. Hybrid wise, I mean, I've been working with this hybridly for, is hybridly a word? I've been working with this for the last couple of years, and I really, you know, go check out my channel. I talk about this lens all the time. It's the one I used most of last year. But like I said, for YouTube and client work, this is always the one I go to, and I'm not selling it. This is not a, you know, discard one or the other. This is, you know, a comparison video to see and help you make up your mind. The problem I've always had with this is just that it's so bloody heavy, where this is heavy, this is big, and it's, you know, the width of it as well is huge, but it fits on my XH2S just that little bit better. I think if I didn't have to have the Fringer adapter on, I could possibly be swayed more towards the Sigma. Let me know what you think. I'm interested to see what you guys shoot with, if you have a preference, and if it's something that, you know, you're considering yourself. Anyway, thanks for watching. Got any questions, drop them in the comments below. Love to hear from you. Let's make some waves, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.